Today we're reading Radiant Child, the story of young artist John Michael Basquiat. Somewhere in Brooklyn, between hearts that thump, double Dutch and hopscotch, and salty mouths that slurp sweet ice, a little boy dreams of being a famous artist. In his house, you can tell a serious artist dwells. As he sits at a table with pencils scattered everywhere, John Michael draws from morning until night with a serious face amid a storm of papers. He refuses to sleep until he has created a masterpiece. Now, did any of you notice how long it took John Michael to create some of his paintings? Did it take him an hour? Did it take him 3 hours? 5 hours? What do you guys think? At night, images enchant John Michael's mind as he wakes from his dreams to add one more line. His drawings are not neat or clean, nor does he color inside the lines. They are sloppy, ugly, and sometimes weird, but somehow still beautiful. His art comes from his mother, Mathilde, a Puerto Rican woman who designs and sews, cooks and cleans, and makes the house look like a stylish magazine. But most important, she lies on the floor and draws with John Michael on his father's old work papers. From her he learns that art is not only in the poetry books she reads, to him or in the theaters and museums they visit. Art is the street games of little children and our style and the words that we speak. It is how the messy patchwork of the city creates new meaning for ordinary things. While visiting the museum, they look at his favorite works of art, reading the story behind each artist, reading the story behind each work. This is how John Michael learns what it means to become a famous artist. Back at home, he creates art on the floor as his father, Jared, plays jazz records. Mama Mathilde cooks arroz con pollo and calls John Michael mi amor. The energy and life of the city can be felt in each line of his drawings. As time goes by, John Michael learns that art has a healing power. After a car accident, he is scared and confused. Mathilde gives him a book to calm his fears. It is filled with pictures of bones, skulls, and other body parts. John Michael draws from it until he knows it all by heart. He is no longer afraid. Back at home, John Michael's body heals, but his heart breaks. His mother's mind is not well, and the family breaks. She no longer lies on the floor and draws with John Michael, but sits by the window singing only to birds. John Michael is confused and filled with a terrible blues when Mathilde can no longer live at home. He tries drawing the terrible out of his blues, but things are not the same. As John Michael grows older, he visits his mother when he can, always bringing his artwork to show, telling her that one day it will be in a museum when I am a famous artist. Now, we just read that John Michael was in a car accident and that his mother's mind was not well. Did any of you notice how he was dealing with both of these tragedies? A teenager now, John Michael decides, Papa, I will be very, very famous one day. With a sly look and a twinkle in his eye, John Michael leaves Brooklyn for New York City, the Lower East Side, a concrete jungle where only the tough survive. During the day, dressed in a green jumpsuit splattered with paint, John Michael stays with friends, sleeping on couches and floors, leaving a barrage of collages and poem-filled papers everywhere he goes. At night, John Michael spray paints the walls downtown with poems and drawings that catch the eye and of artists, gallery goers, and passerby. Under his art, he signs the name Samu instead of John Michael. Everybody wants to know who is Samu. Samu moves from street corners to art gallery walls with powerful color composition and line, collaging and painting on anything he can find. His art is still not neat or clean, and definitely not inside the lines, but somehow still beautiful. Now, after John Michael has grown up, he started painting pictures on walls so others can see. He signed his name Samu under many of his works of art. Why do you guys think that he did that? With his magical charm, John Michael draws a crowd. But when it's time to work, he prefers to be alone, with the radio and TV on full blast. Now in expensive suits splattered with paint, he flips through stacks of magazines and open books, and paints into the night and sometimes for days at a time, while sounds and images jump into his head. John Michael, an artist among artists, never doubts one line, creating from a soundtrack that is all his own. People describe him as radiant, wild, a genius child, but in his heart he is king, so he draws crowns for himself and others he admires. A grown man now, with the art world in his hands. Sorry about that, guys. John Michael still visits his mother when he can. And at the most important shows, above all the critics, fans, and artists he admires, the place of honor is his mother's, a queen on a throne. He is now a famous artist. Now that we finished the book, we got to see that John Michael was able to achieve his dream of becoming a famous artist. Now think back to a couple of pages ago. Do you guys know who was his biggest inspiration to keep going to become a famous artist? Now, at this point of the lesson, I would introduce my activity where I would have the students go back to their desk, grab a sheet of paper, and write down what happened at the beginning of the story, towards the middle of the story, and at the end. I would have them include the setting, the characters, any specific details that they remember about the book, and just their general feeling towards the end of it. And that is it. Thank you very much for listening, and have a nice day.